All right, so we're going to start here with reflexive and intensive pronouns. The definition of it is at the top here, so you can keep this and you'll have it for the test. But we're talking about our pronouns that end in self or selves, and these words have to refer to the subject of the sentence or clause, and this is the rule that you have to remember. These words refer to the subject, which means they can never be used as a subject. They will serve a function in the sentence if a pronoun is reflexive, and that function will be direct object, indirect object, object of a preposition, or predicate nominative. If these words are not used as one of these parts of sentence, it is possible to use them in an intensive sense. An intensive pronoun just emphasizes its antecedent, and the antecedent will be the subject, and it won't serve any kind of grammatical function. So here's an example. I myself must take full responsibility. The word myself just adds some tone or attitude here. In fact, we could even delete it and the sentence would be fine. Anyway, you want to watch out for these pronouns. The big mistake that you can make is you will use them as subjects, or you'll use them in a sentence where they don't refer to the subject. So here is what I'm talking about. Sid and myself went. So here's a verb right here. This is what you'll see on the test, because you'll see a bunch of wrong ones and you'll have to find the right one. Myself here is right in front of the verb went, so myself here is one of the subjects. The subjects are Sid and myself. And you're not allowed to use a reflexive pronoun as a subject. These words, reflexive pronouns or intensive pronouns, they refer to subjects, so they cannot be subjects, so you should say I. Also, one thing you can do when you see a reflexive pronoun combined with another one is try to delete the first one. Would you say myself went to the art museum? Probably not. So there's another kind of technique you can use. If you see a reflexive pronoun combined with something else and the conjunction and, you can delete it and look at it. So below here, there is a quick little exercise where you're supposed to write the word that goes in the blank. So we just need to find a pronoun, a reflexive pronoun that refers to the subject for each one. So she made herself, and this one is intensive. No, sorry, this is reflexive. It's a indirect object. Number 2, Felipe and Jed rebuilt the engine. So this is our subject. We want to have the plural third person, that's themselves. This one is intensive. It doesn't serve any function. Number 3, we should give. So here we have to have a pronoun, a reflexive pronoun that goes to the subject here, we. So this should be ourselves. This is also an indirect object, so this is reflexive. Sit by. Now this one's tricky. Notice how there's no subject here before sit. It's understood. This is a command, and the understood subject in a command is you. So this is second person. Sit by yourself. You'll notice that this comes after a preposition by, so this is an object of a preposition, so it is serving a grammatical function, so this is reflexive. And finally 5, Billy Crystal will give the graduation address. So we need to have a reflexive pronoun that works for Billy Crystal. This is third person masculine, so this will be himself. And you'll notice this does not serve any kind of grammatical function. This is intensive. All right, so below, in this one, there are errors. And what you have to do here is fix the errors. So go ahead and do 6 through 10. And I'm going to wait a few seconds, and then I'll go over the answers. All right, so here are the answers for 6 through 10. My choices for the editors of the paper are Eula and yourself. All right, so this is not correct. So yourself should be you. And the reason for that is that here is our subject, choices. And the choices here can't be referred to as yourself. That you would want a personal pronoun here. You know, these are both predicate nominatives, and there's a rule about predicate nominatives is that they have to be interchangeable with the subject. So if you can't interchange something with a subject, then can't be a predicate nominative, and you would not be allowed to move yourself into the subject position, because you're never, like I said, you're never allowed to use these as subjects. So similarly, you would not be allowed to use them as predicate nominatives, because a predicate nominative has to be able to be switched with the subject. Like you have to be able to say Eula and you are my choices for editors of the paper, and you can't do that if this word is yourself. This one is tricky. So I guess not only can you not use these as subjects, but you also can't use them as predicate nominatives. Number 2, thanks to ourselves, the publicity for the drama festival had great results. So here we have thanks to ourselves. This word right here needs to refer to the subject, and the subject is right here, the publicity. Now, ourselves does not refer to the word publicity. The publicity here is our subject, and reflexive pronouns have to refer to the subject, and this one doesn't. Number 8, Lilith introduced herself and myself to the visiting delegates. So we have Lilith introduced, so here's our subject. And then we have herself. Herself is actually okay. This connects to the subject. But myself, this is wrong. This should be me, because Lilith is the subject, so you can't say myself here, because myself needs to refer to the subject, and Lilith is not the same as me. But herself is okay here, because herself does reflect back to Lilith. Number 9, Yoshi didn't want to walk to the concert all by himself. So here's our subject, and then here is our use of the reflexive pronoun. Is Yoshi the same person as himself? And the answer is yes, so this one actually is correct. And number 10, Gerald and myself. Here is our subject. Here is our verb. And they've used myself as a subject, so that's wrong. This should be Gerald and I. And there you go. I think I forgot to give you an alternative for this one. In 7, it should be thanks to us. All right, so there you go.